getting some nice early morning SSF hardcore runs in. So today we should get somewhere between 10 and 12, and maybe, just maybe, we'll find Drosko up or get a Shield of Knife. I'll definitely get my smithing up to 50 at some point. I'll have to run to Hallis because Kanos is surprisingly bereft of good early smithing supplies. Like, you can't even find the mold for a file out here. So I think Hallis is probably the closest place to get like the lantern mold, the file mold. Just no point in running there until I've got a little bit more plat, though we're getting a pretty good amount here. I'm 34. We actually have to go back and get the Nicholas Resson quest piece really quick. How's the audio for you guys? Can you hear the music? Is it too loud, etc.? I think this character is going to end up pretty well financed. Just because without the group EXP bonus, I'm killing more mobs on average than a group would per level, split, between 6 people. And I'm keeping 100% of the loot that I get. I wonder what level I can start PA on this server. I'm pretty sure the entrance to PA would be like a really good zone to mess with because there's a lot of like mobs that are single or there's like only 2 of them. I probably need to be like level 20 or something for that though. I could even do the spires outside of PA. Each spire has like a single null spawn and there's some pathers too. So last night the top guild on this server, that's EQ Baby, broke the record for classic completion. It used to be 9 days and now it is, I want to say like 7 days and 4 hours. I'll have to check, like, you know, sit down and really do the math, but it's a lot faster. If we're at least a little bit lucky, we'll get a rib bone off this guy right away. There we go. So we have this other quest item from Kano's Catacombs. This little note here for Morona Kaskin. We'll turn that in. Probably going to get something stupid like a lantern or patchwork armor, but we could get a magical ring or bracer. It's funny, like if you read the notes, like who wrote this? I guess the Bloodsabers straight up knew who Ron Kaskin was. Put this note on his body so that his sister would find it. Maybe. summoned bandages, temporary, not even venerable. Alright, so now we are once again looking for Nicholas Resson. I think he passed like right over this hill to the guard tower and back. Let's try this will-o-wisp. Sadly, I can't even bash them for damage until I get my shield. Would have really sucked if I forgot to turn off auto attack and just ran up and smacked that guy. Yeah, my bashes do nothing because it's not magic. It's coming close. Burned out Lightstone, starting the morning off with some bad luck. Alright, so we'll do the usual rotation here. We'll turn in this quest item, and then we'll go check on Trosco in the sewers. Maybe we'll have some luck. There's a rat that can spawn in this building that I've been checking on, like, since I made this character. So usually you'll see a sewer rat up, like this. But I'm pretty sure that the correct one you want to see is a mangy rat. It'll drop a rat head, which you can turn in for quest completion with the guy downstairs. And dude, I must have checked this place like 80 times. I've never seen it up. See, he asks you to help him with his rat problem and bring down the rat head. I almost wonder if the quest text triggers his spawn. And since I never really do the quest text, I don't see it. I'll walk by on the way back. Another loss. Yelp could be a nice bonus here. We'll see how that goes. Check on our mangy rat. Well, look at that. Maybe it really is triggered by the quest text. Like, once you do the text, the next spawn is your boy. Well, we got 2 copper and 0.06% EXP. Ha, good work. I knew you were the person for the job. A regular rat slayer you are. Here's your reward as promised. Be sure to keep this between us. In my faction with the Rogues Guild, Circle of Unseen Hands went down. So apparently that rat was working for the Rogues. Who would have thought? It's actually a pretty good quest to fix Merchant faction in Kanos though. Plus 25 is not bad. Didn't expect to see this here. This guy's like a super rare spawn here. Looks like Yelp is just enough to overwrite Dread Touch. Too easy. wonder if this guy's gonna give me a faction hit. Some of the undead down here actually give you like negative Bloodsaber faction hits. I don't know, it's feeling like a lucky day. Undead Knight's up, Dread Corpse up. We finally got that mangy rat. Like this vendor's for like 5 gold. So it looks like Yelp 1 gives me 10 strength. I'm guessing that this is our PH. Ten strength and 5 AC. Looks like, yeah. So he will be back up in 20 minutes. Sucks, once they hit the water, there's basically nothing we can do. Pull this guy out of Holly's pathing range. Can't wait to get Cure Disease. I think it's like level 11 for me. Man, that sucks. Another stupid grizzly skin. Shouldn't even be in the game right now. Alright, he's here, so by the time we get a putrid rib bone, he might be like most of the way back to the ruins. I've got a work call, so I'm gonna be silent for a few minutes here. Oof. 2 dread corpses. It's not gonna work. At least we'll clean this camp out. That sucks. I would have preferred to be able to kill that putrid skeleton myself. Jesus Christ. On the plus side, dread corpses run a little bit faster than normal mobs, so there is a small chance I'll be able to get the guards to kill the dread corpses without killing the putrid skeleton. We'll see. The only problem is the guards tend to aggro the same dread corpse rather than each getting on one. Nice, there we go, perfect. Alright, we got our putrid rib bone. Now to find Nicholas Resson. Perfect timing. Thanks, pal. I wish this wasn't lore. I just stack up like 20 of them and go turn them all in at once. It's got a class and a race and stats, but I don't see a slot. Let's check out our Zem list while we run, see where we can go next that would have a pretty competitive Zem for our range. It does look like Befallen is the place to go. I don't know if it's worth it on a Permadeath run though. Like anything beyond the top floor, I guess below the top floor really is so dangerous. Gonna get feared, snared. probably just smarter to go like unrest, slightly less EXP, but way safer. Boo. These light healing potions are kind of a win because it'll come in handy later. They're instant clicks, so if I'm ever fighting like a named mob that I need an item from, like Ancient Cyclops, I could just snap through a bunch of them really fast. Maybe I'll grab that guy on the way out. I wish my swimming was scaling up a little bit faster. It's only like 19 or 20 right now. We got a PH here, so 20 more minutes on this. Hey, good morning. I should look into baking, see what kind of skill I need to do Misty Thicket picnics. I think you can do Kano's afternoon tea and the picnics both during Classic now. That is an oddly placed fish. One more limestone ring. How are you doing today, Cabes? Man, this guy's been up like all the time. I'm pretty sure he is for an out of era ranger quest. I'm like half tempted to try to kill him, maybe in a level or two, just to see if the quest works. Because it would be really crazy. It's like a 927 sword or something, with a bunch of stats on it. Yeah, Cabes, I know what you mean. Like yesterday, I was gonna start streaming, and then I instead worked on audio issues for like an hour and a half before I started. I just feel like there's always a little bit more that you can like tweak to make it more polished. Or during that same time, you could just actually be streaming. Hey, thanks for the follow. Dude, I am going slow. So I'm being like a super casual pleb right now, and I'm trying to do quests, which is slowing me down significantly. Like, I think so far at level 10, I've killed like nothing but rabid bears and putrid skeletons. I'm trying to get this shield, this magical shield. By the time I get it, I could have just gone to like Crushbone and farmed a shiny brass shield, though. But you know, you have to admit, paladins are not exactly paragons of DPS, right? So I've got some natural constraints. It would be really tough, Shat, because you have no way to heal any kind of damage that either one of them takes, especially the rogue, so I would advise against it. When you're looking at like what class to box with a rogue, you're almost looking at like which class best carries a rogue. Unless you can do some heavy twinking of the rogue, I would advise against it. So I tried EQ2 Arnigan, wasn't a huge fan. Like the gameplay was alright, though it was a lot different than EverQuest. The part that I didn't like was just everything felt so flavorless for some reason. You know, I understand that people who actually play it a lot really enjoy it, which is good for them, but personally, the world didn't feel like Norath to me, and so I was never able to get into it. I think I'll probably go back and try it again one more time. Are you a big EQ2 fan, Arnigan? So what's broken about it? Hey, Tien Coca. So the factors in well, first I'm happy it got broken. I think it's good. I think it's good for the meta. What are the factors? I think the factors are just like, you know, over time we see what other people do and we improve on it little by little. If you look at the roster of that guild, like 20 or 30 people in it are like some of the same people that were there when we broke the record on Agnar. So a lot of the same people mixed in there. The EXP on the server is definitely a lot faster than Agnar. Now, I don't think the EXP rate is actually set faster, but I think it's faster because of like the group EXP bonus and some of the Zem changes. I can say this confidently because I was both the server first on Agnar and Eridune for level 50, right? So I feel like in that sense, I'm kind of like uniquely poised to talk about the EXP rates between both of them. Shad, the SSF stands for Solo Self-Found. So in this run, I don't accept items from, like I don't trade with players. I only take items that I get from mobs I personally kill, come from default vendor stock, are crafted by me or quested by me. And I also, it's a hardcore run or permadeath run, so if I die, I retire this character. But beyond just like the EXP rate and stuff, Coca, there's things that Adabishi's guild just strictly did better than us. Right, yeah. So one of the big things they did better than us was they had a much better dragon cheese than we knew of at the time when we did ours like 3 years ago. That's the line of sight cheese. I'm sure you've seen it. So it just makes the dragons not use any spells or AE abilities, which was used heavily for killing dragons up to this point. I wish we had known about that, because we could have killed the dragons like, you know, a day or more earlier. Hey, thanks, Destro. So that's a big factor. But another big factor is the charming. So as a raid leader, I was always like a little bit hesitant on, you know, putting the like going 100% in on charm. I was always worried that, you know, charm breaks would wipe the raid kind of deal. So when we were looking at stuff like Vox, for instance, we would never charm any giants. We just killed all the giants. That was probably a mistake. Looking at what Adabishi did, it was probably a mistake. Same thing with Sky. I didn't really charm any fairies in Sky, which is obviously a huge chunk of DPS. So if we were to do it again, what I would do is just optimize our leveling routes a little bit, which I think would take care of itself. And I would emphasize charm a lot more heavily in these server first raids. But I think those two things are about all I know of that you can do right now. I assume the Dragon Cheese is going to get patched before I ever get another shot at it, so we won't be able to do that. Yeah, I know Vicious is the guy who, like, you know, did it. It's funny because we all knew the concepts behind the Dragon Cheese. Like, from NTOV, I think a lot of people knew it. Like, you could put a mage pet on the dragons and then hide the mage out of range. And the dragon just wouldn't AE or anything, right? So we knew that. But no one put it together with non-rooted dragons and said, hey, we could do this simply by making the dragon swing through the wall. Now I imagine you could do that with Trachanon and other dragons as well. So it'll trivialize all AE-based content going forward. But back in 2017, we didn't really know about it. Now you're always gonna get like super elite guys who are like, yeah, dude, in 1999 my guild did this. It's like, whatever, okay, maybe they did. But most people, and certainly the people who mattered in this context, didn't know. Like, we didn't know, so we didn't use it. No, I wouldn't say we had anyone race for server first on Agnar. We had contested encounters in open world, maybe like once a week. In Velius we had a lot more. But I wouldn't say we had like a real competitor. Yeah, the leader of Kratom just went MIA completely. There we go, got our rib bone. And if I was kind of close. The leader of Kratom just went MIA. His guild doesn't know where he's at. They haven't heard from him since day 2. But yeah, originally, dude, I thought there was no way they would beat the overall classic timer that we had set. And then once I saw the EXP rate, you know, when I hit 50 at 39 hours, when it took me 58 hours on Agnar, then I was like, okay, they have a really good shot. If, you know, if this is kind of like everyone's experience, if it's faster for everybody. I mean, if he got suspended or banned, that's one thing, but he didn't tell his officers anything, because they've been talking to me and they were saying, yeah, like, hey, he didn't message anybody on Discord, he's just totally MIA, no one knows what happened. They said they thought he might have passed away or something. Usually, when there's things like this going on, people will just kind of vanish, or their mom will have to go to the hospital kind of thing. Like, the pressure's just too much, and they want to get out of there, save some face. Can you imagine getting suspended and not telling the rest of your guild, like, hey guys, I'm suspended? Especially like when you're in a leadership or officer role, you would at least tell your officers, like, hey, I'm suspended, bro. You gotta roll without me for a little bit. I see. And that's another thing. The dude was like level 17. If I got suspended at level 17, I just re-roll my character. 40 hours, dude. Not a long time to grind. So what about you, Coca? Are you going to play on the next TLP server, or are you going to stick with this one for the long term? I see. You know, depending on where I'm at with real life stuff, you never know. I might try to do another faceless for 2021. Try to get some, try to run that back on the records. But you never go into any kind of speed run with anything in any game and expect your record to stand forever, right? That would be crazy. So I'm glad they broke it. It stood for 3 years. Very happy to see somebody do it. I'm shocked that Grizzly Bear didn't aggro me. Yeah, well, the thing is, I wouldn't even want to compete with all the US-based guilds because there's a lot of people who are like in it to grief, and they're in it to hack and cheat, and that's just like not something I want to be a part of. Like the guilds on this server seem fine, they seem legit. Most of the guilds I've played with seem really good, but there's like a small core group of people who are pretty much dedicated cheaters and dedicated griefers. And it's not like a group of people I look forward to being on any server with, competitive or otherwise. And unfortunately, Daybreak or Darkpaw Games, you know, they're just not invested enough. They're not knowledgeable enough to really combat it. So, like when we did the Cello race, we had level 1s warping all over the place, training raid mobs on our leveling groups. I think every one of our statics got trained several times, except for my static, during that leveling race. And that's the kind of thing, it's like, it illegitimizes the whole thing. And that doesn't even get into like the far taunting raid mobs kind of shit for actual progression pieces. And unfortunately, I just don't think that Darkpaw will ever get better at it. Like, that's another thing, like, I think you could get some really popular streams going, like you could stream a really popular race to server first 50 kind of thing. But Darkpaw is so terrible about policing their own game that you could never actually stream that. Like if you were competitive for the first 50 on a server and you attempted to stream it, you would get trained out constantly, and nothing would happen to the people who trained you. Maybe they'd get banned after they had already like delayed your group several hours. Alright, so we blind feared the putrid skeleton. Now the dread corpse is after us. We should be able to run him to the guards. Oh, looks like somebody else grabbed the dread corpse. Might be just like incidental aggro. Whoops. There's our guy. Go turn this in. Roll the dice again on the quest drop. Did you used to do a lot of videos, Coca? Oh, you were the Darkwind video guy. That's awesome. Their videos are really high quality, man. That's pretty awesome. I've done a ton of Everquest videos over the years, and I was like fortunate to have them featured in random places as a result, I think. But I never bother editing them too much because I'm just too lazy. But yeah, when I started doing EQ videos, there wasn't a big YouTube presence for EQ, and I guess there still isn't a whole lot. But when I started doing it, there was like really almost nothing. And I just said, hey, I want to be the guy who like chronicles every raid mob in EQ at least once. So I started recording every encounter at least one time. And then some of my raid videos were on, like one of them was on a CNN article. One of them was on like PC Gamer. What am I doing? One of them was featured in Video Games, the movie. It's funny though, because like you watch other organizations like talk about EQ and they're so wrong. Like the PC Gamer one, they were doing an article on the top 10 hardest raid mobs of all time. And so, you know, they asked me if they could use one of my videos. Oh, boys! Oh, shit! Oh, look at that. Look at that. 3 days. Camping it for 3 days. We're free. We're free, boys. Yeah, you know, it's weird, Coca, like, I've had a few things like that too, where they ask if they can use the video and then I'd never see it anywhere. Sometimes they don't link it to you. You gotta like go hunt it down in some obscure article. And other times, I think, you know, the article just doesn't pan out in like the editing process or something, if they even edit these things anymore. So yeah, PC Gamer was doing a video on like the hardest raid mobs of all time. They asked if they could use one of my videos, and I said, yeah, absolutely, I'd love that. And I'm like, okay, so they're probably gonna use the sleeper video or something, right? Or maybe OMM because he was hard at the time, or like 2net. And I go to the article when they finally release it. I go all the way to number 1, dude, and you will not believe which raid mob PC Gamer thought was the hardest raid mob of all time. Venril Sathir. It's more like the most trivial raid mob of all time. It was stunning to see that. Yeah, dude. I'll find this article for you. Dude, there's the article. Go all the way to number 1. Indifferent skeleton. So many cool, weird things down here in the catacombs. This is the path to Shark Town. Don't go there. Oh, I got turned around. Dude, I mean, yeah, definitely Avatar of War would have been a good candidate, because at least during his era, he was, you know, seen as unstoppable. There's so many good candidates that you could make an argument for that are a lot better than Venril Sathir. Even in the era that VS came out, he wasn't the hardest mob. Gornair was harder than VS. Hand of Vishan was harder than VS. I remember seeing that Tian Coco where they had the insane broken regen, like they were constantly in out of group regen mode, so you could, it was like almost impossible to kill them. I'm just gonna let this sit over here for a minute. Just enjoy its presence. Looks like someone else is camping Drosco now. Yeah, I remember the Lockjaw guys were hoping that they got the broken version just to try it, but they ended up fixing it before Lockjaw unlocked Velius. This is another article. This is a Kotaku article on the sleeper that uses one of my video clips in it. Now they talked about primarily MIM, Ascending Dawn, you know, the Rallis-Zek crew that killed the sleeper. But it was just cool to see that they used this, and they were another company that like asked, I've found a few where they just, they just use the videos without requesting anything. I don't mind, of course. Like, who cares about Everquest videos? But it's always nice when they send you a message on YouTube and say, hey, can we use your stuff? Yeah, I figure there's not a ton of European players, so you probably stick together pretty well, huh? Oh, you have the Vulak one. Okay, yeah, I've watched that. Yeah, that's something that happened at Faceless too. Like, there was a point where we had like 3 or 4 Faceless guilds on TLP servers and stuff, and it just stretched us way too thin. And you end up with like the same relatively small group of people who want to be officers and something like that. So you have like officers doing double duty, running 2 guilds. Very tough. Dude, now that I got this shield, this is the first time I'm like, oh man, I hope this character doesn't die. I definitely don't want to lose this. It took a million years to get. Yeah, dude, I need to line that goal out. There we go. Now it looks good. No, I'm not. I'm gonna go back there maybe one day as a cleric. We'll see. I just want to be there when they get to live, which will be like March of next year. Hey Z-Mills, yeah, you just you go to an augment vendor. Each city has one. You can probably control F it, and then you pick up the augment in your cursor like this, and you right-click your weapon so you can view it like this, and you just click right there. And see, it says here you attempted to insert an item that is not an augment. Since you'll have an augment on your cursor, it'll just pop right in. I think they did way back in the day say that they would merge solos when it hit live. I'm not positive. I think the name of the vendor is different in each city, but there might be just like an augment header. Which city are you looking in? Yeah, I don't know anything about Greater Fate Arc. Definitely, no questions asked, the best 2-box combo is Cleric Enchanter right now. More solo potential than any other 2-box combo. And far more powerful than any box combo class. And it's going to remain that way at least until Velius, if not beyond. Yeah, you charm enemies, and then with the cleric you have complete heal. It's pretty much unstoppable. We're gonna hang tight out here for a second. Hey, SSF is solo self-found. It means that I don't accept items from other people. Like, there's no trading. I only acquire items via looting it from a monster I kill, questing, crafting, or purchasing from like a default vendor stock. My played right now is 23 hours. Though a huge chunk of that time was spent questing. These are the 2 quests I worked on so far. Shining Star of Life for a magic weapon, procs cleanse, pretty good, and Shield of Knife. Shield of Knife took like, I just got it this morning, it probably took like 3 days. Yeah, it's pretty good. Z-Mills, it depends on what you want. The Life Tap Aug is a nice, safe one, so just right-click them and view them all to see which ones have that. Wolfenite is the aggro Aug. It's going to have a stun proc. Unless you're a tank, you don't want that. I think Anatase Gem might be the Life Tap one. Man, I wish it did. Yeah, it does. Huh. $5 silver, so every null fang is half of a gold. Yeah, kobold fangs are gold. Yeah, I went with Paladin because it would be pretty challenging, but it wasn't as boring to watch as like a warrior or a rogue. I think rogue would be like strictly impossible, but most of the other classes are too easy. Yeah, so I was thinking about like Paladin or Shadow Knight, but I ended up going with Paladin because it seemed like Shadow Knight takes a lot of the fear of the permadeath server with Feign Death. You know, it just kind of takes that out of the equation. It's probably a pixel I could be using here. Hey, can you... You guys hear that? I almost did it again. Hey, what's up, Bro Storm? Long time no see, dude. Are you on air, dude? Man, everything is dead right now. It begins to rain. Okay. This guy's doing some deeps. I need to reapply courage. Watch, he's just gonna run right into a wall at 20% and warp somewhere. I like this UI, but I'm not crazy about the buff bar, because buffs just take up like way too much space. That's just the natural gap between Yelp and Courage, but to me it looks like I had a buff here and it faded. Met up and we'll do this yellow cone. We need to pull this guy down. Oh jeez, he got the other one to aggro. If we let him fight right there, when he ran at like 20%, he would have gone directly to the pit and gotten a bunch of ads anyway. But I think he might have line of sighted the other one. Yeah, he did. Might still be good. Someone's trying to sell Chrono for 875 plat in Black Bro. I feel like it's like the wrong place. Yeah, it's not gonna work. Yeah, that sucks. Two more levels, we'll get lull, it'll be a lot easier. Oof, we gotta block this buff. He tried to give me a damage shield or something, but I blocked it already. That's good. Yeah, I know, right? He kept recasting them. Being able to block buffs is actually super convenient. On P99 you have to... What is this guy doing? He got low HP aggro on someone who was like down below us. But yeah, on P99 you have to just click them off every single time someone casts it on you. This will be a good mob to see exactly what a solo even con is giving us in this zone. We're at 34.868. So just under 3%, like 2.7. So if any of you guys are just jumping in now, this is an SSF, Permadeath, or Hardcore run. So that means that solo self-found items, which means I can't trade with any players. It's kind of dense down here. I assume this group wants this mob, I'll let them do that. So yeah, I can't trade with any players. All items I get come either from my own crafting, questing, or mobs I've killed, or default vendor items. Also, since it's hardcore, that means if I die, the character gets retired. And in the spirit of soloing, I'm trying not to have any like out-of-group buffs or anything like that. It's hard because, you know, like in EQ, people just drive by buff and heal you. So we've just been doing block buffs as stuff comes up. And my only stipulation on the rule set is that if someone intentionally griefs or trains me, then that death won't count. It'd just be too easy to make the run impossible, especially when you're streaming it. Hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Alright, we got an ad here, but we should still be okay. Ideally, while we're here, we will get one of the studded leather collars and the rusty spiked shoulder pads. Get some plus strength items. Hey Sethrick, I don't know if I deserve that kind of reputation. My tips for new players would be, if your goal is to level fast, then follow the Zems, absolutely. Stay in a full group as much as possible. I've compiled a Zem list, which I just linked in chat, so you could check that out and try to follow that route. If you're new, honestly, like Unrest, Guck, that kind of path is pretty easy and newbie friendly. But if you're up for a challenge, which I think a challenge is more in line with the spirit of EQ, I recommend that you try Solosec A. And then for specific tips, it would be easier if I knew like which class you're gonna play. I never tested Catch Keep as part of like a benchmark test to see how it performed, other than, you know, just getting that Zem there. The reason I never put a lot of testing time into it is because when I visited it to do the Zem portion, I found that the mob density was pretty poor, and also swimming is you know, pretty rough. We're an all-caster group. Swimming makes it really easy for you to accidentally move, because there's like a little bit of continuous movement when you try to stop, which means your spells are going to get interrupted and stuff very frequently. Yeah, Soleil's EXP bonus is massive, very significant. That's the path that I went. I think Sol A is one of the more challenging zones for its level range, if not the most challenging zone for its level range in EQ, though. It's just very dangerous. That said, like I said, I think high danger is kind of in the spirit of EQ, and so I think you're doing the right thing if you go there. No one remembers that time they had a nice, smooth grind from start to finish. Everyone remembers the time that they had a really tough grind and they made it through in the end anyway. Sol A is Solosec's I. It's like the upper guck of Nagafin's lair. So you go to Lava Storm, and it's a dungeon composed primarily of goblins and gnomes. Hey, Echolocation, the man himself. Thanks for following, dude. So for those of you who don't know or haven't read it in my little SSF description, this stream was inspired by Echolocation. He created the SSF rule set in Everquest, and I just absolutely ripped that off to do this SSF Permadeath Paladin. Hey, thanks for the follow, guys. Appreciate it. And you guys should absolutely check out Echolocation when you get a chance. Echo, I think, is a level 42 SSF warrior, so he's doing some really crazy stuff, things that people maybe didn't even think were possible, and he's doing it on P99. So Echo, one of the big reasons that I couldn't go pure melee on this is because the Bind Wound macro does not work on live servers or on progression servers. They patched it out. So when I saw that, I was like, oof, definitely warrior would not be the way to go. Better level fast before they patch it. Look at that, boys. Elite Ledge. As soon as we get low, we're going to split pull that out and get those nice plus strength items. Dude, I wonder if I can get the Soulfire solo. I wonder if I could do some kind of like kiting shenanigans on Lucan. Use like woolly nets and stuff. My character's too fat. All encumbered over here. Yeah, this is the new Air Dune server. Yeah, there are some zones that look terrible. Mostly they're all on like the Freeport side though, so we're safe hanging out by Kanos. Echo, queues are starting to die down now, so it's definitely a good opportunity to start getting involved on the Airdoon server. So what do you hope to accomplish with your character, Zero? This guy over here is my nemesis. Hey, later, Echo. Thanks for stopping by. Man, I need to lose a lot of weight. So I take a big AC penalty by being encumbered, and when you go below 75 AC, you have a... Or sorry, I take a big agility penalty, but when you go below 75 agility, you lose a ton of AC. And also I run slower, which is going to be a big problem if I have to like run for my life. Well, there's lots of good classes for grouping. If you want to be able to group and solo, I mean, Mage is great, Necromancer is great, Druid is great, Shaman is great. Yeah, I can't pull this guy away because of that guard up there. I'll have to try to kill him and then dip once the ads come in. Yeah, this guy's the full 2 levels higher than me, so it's gonna be tough. Times like this make me wish I could have been an Ogre Paladin. Well, there is no Ogre Paladin, but Ogres have frontal stun immunity as a racial bonus. So I would be able to cast my heals or any other spell without getting stunned and interrupted. This could work out. Maybe me being low health will stop him from running. Didn't work, boys. Oh, this is really not good. So once I get out of, oh shit, that wore off really fast. Once I get out of line of sight or melee range, when I have Flash of Light cast on this guy, it becomes a fear spell. Like he just runs around because he can't find anything. This is bad. There's my get out of jail free card. Yeah, I guess if I die, you guys can pick the next class. You know, the tanks aren't so bad without twinking. I mean, I'm playing a tank right now, and you see me soloing yellows and stuff, so it's really not as bad as people say. If you're in a group, it's even easier. Necro would be a lot of fun to play, but it's just like, you know, it's so easy. You know that I'm going to get there, no problems. I'm a Necromancer. Got Feint Death, I can solo everything in the game. Wizard solo would at least be a little bit challenging. I mean, we know I would get there, just like quad kite. I need to turn auto ducking off. Alright, since we're encumbered, we're gonna go sell anyway. So now we're gonna swing by and check on Drosko really quick since we're over here. Oh geez, dude, I'm so brain dead I didn't even sell. Bards cannot AoE swarm. they nerfed the AoE swarm. I think there's a max number of targets AoEs can hit, and also mobs that are moving, of course, take less damage from dots, so it's super nerfed. I think we actually need to keep this skin here for tailoring. Man, SKs are amazing. One of the top classes on TLPs for sure. They're not one of the top classes, or they're not the top class in Classic. I'm going to give that one to Enchanter. But I would say they're like pretty much always top 3 for the entire life cycle of TLP servers. Most trade skills are not worth working on Sethric. The exceptions being like JC and maybe Pottery. Actually, Golden Idols are gone, so JC is the big one, Jewel Crafting. But you can only do that if you're an Enchanter. Alchemy is really good if you're a Shaman. There's some good stuff from Tinkering, though that's mostly going to be like Epic Pieces and Rebreathers. But yeah, classic trade skills are pretty limited. Usually, if you get onto the server fast and you get smithing up really quickly, you can make a big profit on Banded, but that's a huge race and a very short time slot. Hey, Chromatic, yes I did. Smithing's going all right. I got it up to like 28 or 30 or something. Just sharpening rusty weapons, breaking them down, that kind of stuff. And then I've mostly been saving platinum so that I can push it all the way up to Bandit in like one big shot. So Sethric, I'm currently looking for a zombie in the sewers that is used for a quest item. We have the added benefit of getting some spider silk while we're down here. So I'll use the spider silk eventually to skill up my tailoring and make weight reduction bags. But yeah, Chromatic, I joined 8 years ago. Dude, that Dread Corpse gives me a stupid 10 strength debuff. Looks like he's camped. Yeah, Navy. I'm very fortunate. It's been a short and extremely successful career so far. Dude, that's awesome. Did you like it? I feel like Navy comes in two flavors, like they love it or they despise it. It's so weird. The skeleton here, Khan's indifferent. He just starts fighting random mobs throughout the zone. That really sucks about the medical discharge. Buzz is tough though. Real tough. Dang, Chromatic. Was that all in Chrono, I assume? Yeah, those 40 slot bags get expensive fast. So if this character dies, you guys have to vote on a new character, right? Please vote on something with Spirit of Wolf. Like a Ranger. Or a Bard. I don't want to run this slow for another SSF hardcore run. Solo Ranger all day. That shit would be fun. You know, I think the big Ranger, you know, like all the people talking bad about Rangers is kind of like a holdover from Classic when they really were bad, and they were mostly bad because of the huge negative EXP modifier they added versus their value. But nowadays, they're not as bad as people think. They're a lot better than people think. Hey, Grizzly, I got first 50 with a mage. Let me show you really quick. So there's the final moments of my level 50 character. That's after I gave away all my gear and stuff. Oh yeah, Ranger can be awesome. And for group content, even though they're not a plate class, Rangers can tank just fine. You see this trap? We got the Grizzly here. You're like, oh yeah, let's get this Rapid Grizzly. Holly Windstalker right there. Alright, let's do this. Dude, I'm gonna be pissed if Garden Ash walks over here and kill steals my bear. Hey, thanks, dude. Yeah, it was a fun ride. This was like the 3rd or 4th server that we've been the first group on. And I think this was my most fun. The most fun I had out of all of them. The queues were not bad. Last night I think I had like a 10-minute queue. That was the longest one I experienced. And like, yeah, today there's definitely no queue right now. The one I had was in the peak of prime time. What I'll say though is that the zone times were really bad last night for some reason, like several minutes for each zone line. Yeah, I was getting a lot of tell lag. I'd send someone tells, and then it would take them like 10-15 seconds to get it. Did you guys see that? The servers are such shit now, dude. Mobs used to not do that. The bear literally got feared out there, and he was so far away, he just stood there in the running animation until I got closer. I don't know if he ever would have came back. There's probably a ton of fresh exploits as a result of that kind of thing. Yeah, the server really chugs under the population right now. I don't think it's because the population is bigger than any other server. I think it's because the server hardware, or whatever the server technology is, I think it's getting worse. It's become cheaper. Yeah, Shind. I mean, if you're doing those Voxes and Nagafins like that, it's definitely gonna feel cheaper, right? Because you're not really killing the dragons. But as a person who like enjoys the speedrun mentality, I don't criticize anyone for using an exploit. So, props to those guys. I wish I knew about the exploit back when we did the Agnar Guild. And we'll see, maybe they won't patch it in time for the next server. Oh, dude, 100%, there's no question. It's guaranteed to be an exploit. You take a dragon and it doesn't cast an AE spell because it can't see its target. There's there's layers of exploit there. First, it's attacking through a wall, right? So that's sort of exploity, right? Sort of a geometry exploit. And then since it doesn't have line of sight on its tank target, it just doesn't cast any spells, which means you could just sit underneath it all day. You won't get hit by one single AE once it's positioned correctly. I don't think it's like a, I don't think it's not legit though, because I think exploits are fair game. But if my guild continued to do that sort of thing after like the first kill, it would feel real cheap for me. But there is definitely no question that it's an exploit, and that it will eventually get fixed if people keep doing it enough, and that on Eriduin of all servers, if you continue to do it openly, you put yourself at risk, I would say, for action against you or your guild. There's definitely layers of risk that guilds assume when they do this. On this character, or like combined? No, we are level 9 right now, and I think we have like 24 hours played, something stupid. Yeah, total time playing 1 day, 27 minutes. But a lot of that time was spent questing. I got the Shield of Knife today. It took me 3 days, so. The nerfed Shield of Knife for some reason. I don't know why, but on P99 wiki it shows it having 10 magic resist as well. Hey, it's a lot of fun. You should get in there, dude. Dude, I'm gonna ask Prathen why he hates Paladins. Why'd he nerf this? Okay. Alright, I'll keep you posted if there's any new information. Let's see if this is a cracked staff. Worn great staff. Terrible. See if we can kill this before the train gets us. Now we got a crack staff. Honestly, for a while in the beginning, I was kind of hoping I would die somewhere early because I want to redo my stat. Like I might, if I died and we did a paladin again, I'd probably go dwarf just because my strength is so low. It's a huge hassle. Like you can see right now, I'm already encumbered. So I'm going to be using all my platinum to fund blacksmithing. I think I've almost got enough blacksmithing plat now to go all the way up to bandit. I'm not sure. The thing is, Kanos is kind of like a poor place to do blacksmithing, so I'm going to have to run to Hallis. And I kind of want to be like a slightly higher level and have enough plat to like guarantee a full suit of bandit by the time I go to Hallis. So I'm not running all the way back and forth across the world multiple times. I think this is one of their pools that just came up here. Is that an elite null? Oh boy. So I'm totally open for them to come back and take the rest of this pool off of me. We'll see. Hey, congratulations, dude. I hope you're enjoying it. Yeah, Everfrost could be dangerous. I think at my level right now, I could pretty much make it as long as I don't go into like the frigid plain section of Everfrost. The tunnels, you know, like the little gorges you run through should mostly have like low level mobs. It's just a long run to do multiple times. I might wait till I have like 100 plat to go up there. So pretty soon my game plan is to start focusing on will-o-wisps, which will increase my plat flow significantly, very, very fast. Every time I get a greater light stone, it'll be like 10 plat. Shaman can do a lot. Absolutely. Not as good as a necromancer in classic, But in later expansions, the Shaman will actually be even better. Like in Velius, I think Shaman will farm better than the Necromancer will farm. I want to go to Wisp Island, but it's pretty dangerous because like everything on the island socials. I might have to wait till like level 13 or 14. Like I need to wait till they're pretty blue, you know what I mean, to mess with the Wisp Island Wisps, because I'm going to have to fight like 3 or 4 at a time. I think Shaman solo leveling might be a little slow in Classic because they revamped their dots and now their dots cost a lot of mana. They're super good, really powerful, but very mana intensive. Hey Village, I do have the Shining Star of Light. That was a close one. I think once I kill this patrolling gnoll, I'll have it in the bag. Yeah, I got the Shining Star level 5. That run all the way to Rivervale to farm Bixies was tense. I'm not super hip to the troll quest lines. I would say look into the Inaruk necklace. I think if you worship Inaruk, there's a necklace you can get that is a snare clicky for Troll Shaman. That'll be really good. Hey, what's up, Milk Crate? Yeah, dude, I ran to Rivervale. It was wild. So I went through East Karana, Gorge of King Zorb, and then Runny Eye, and we had to do some serious tech to make it through alive. Bixie, that's the necklace I'm talking about. The Regent symbol of Inaruk. It's got a clicky clinging darkness for clerics and shaman. The only thing is you have to worship Inaruk to get it. Yeah, so the thing, if you go shaman, an ogre shaman in Velius is able to solo Western Waste dragons. Like not the big raid mob dragons, but you can solo all the groupable dragons by yourself, where you can make a ton of plat and get a ton of cool items that way. Also, everyone just always wants a shaman, so you'll be in high demand at all times. Yeah, shaman can be rough to raid on for sure, because everyone's asking you for buffs. You gotta maintain buffs on like 20 people. I'm gonna go sell quick. On Agnar, at launch, when we started doing raids, we had like 20 shamans. And then a month after launch, I think we had like 4 shamans. They burned out fast. What I'm going to do is probably bank some of this stuff that's weighing me down. Yeah, Kunark opens it up big time. So you gotta imagine, you know, like, maybe you're like one of 4 shamans in a raid of 72 people. So you've got like 67 people who want you to send a pile of buffs their way. Which sucks because Shaman can actually be really great DPS. So you don't want them to just be out of mana all the time. You guys can see my nice collection of stuff. That's a little bit better. Pretty soon we'll get weight reduction bags. Yeah, I definitely, you know, the general consensus is that Ogre is the premier class, or the premier race for Shaman. In fact, people tend to say, like, if your class can be an Ogre, go Ogre. If not, go Troll. If not, go Ixar. Actually, I think it's the reverse order. It's like, can your class be an Ogre? If yes, play Ogre. If not, play an Ixar. If it can't be that, then play Troll. If not that, then play Dark Elf. Gnome has a really cool racial ability. Ooh, I don't know if it's better than Bull Smasher. So Village, one of the big things that has been super helpful, at least in the early levels, with the Shining Star, is that Cleanse is healing me for 5 HP every time it procs, which actually ended up being a bigger impact than I thought. Like, I think it's pretty critical for me being able to like solo yellows at this level. You know, most mobs hit for like a range of 5 to 15 right now. So every time it procs, it's just like removing a round of their damage from me. It seems to proc pretty frequently. Yeah, the gnome racial ability is wall hacks. I'll run over here and show you guys really quick. I'm like really triggered by seeing this red 84 all the time from my shield. Just gotta tell myself it's worth it. So you see that when I sit down, you see what happens to my screen? I can briefly see through that wall. Gnomes have that ability like all the time. They don't have to sit. They can just walk into a wall and they see right through it. Yeah, man, I'm really regretting not putting more points into strength, at least, if not going dwarf. I always thought it'd be really dope if barbarians were able to be paladins. They were created by the Mar twins, so it only makes sense. You know, like the lore is there for them to do it. I think the idea is they're just too uncivilized to be like a knight kind of thing. But a barbarian with a flaming sword, full plate, would look awesome. Dude, as an ogre shaman, I'd probably just go all in on wisdom. Their wisdom is a little bit lower than the other shaman races, so I'd go all in on wisdom. Your stamina is already so much higher than all the other races that you don't really need to put more into stamina. Yeah, make sure your agility is 75. Alright, back into Blackbrow, where I can get 2 kills before training the bridge group again. Dude, 1 round. Flee. It's not really important as a primary stat. The problem is in EQ, if you go below 75 agility, you get a huge negative AC penalty. And it's big enough that it's important for virtually everyone. So you just want to make sure you have 75 as that base stat. There's a null shaman on one of the lower floors that is healing the top floor mobs through the ceiling. I see we've got a good chunk of viewers now. If you guys are leveling on Erdune, you can type !Zem, and it'll bring up a Zem list for all the zone experience modifiers on Erdune. Help you decide where to level if you don't already have your characters to 50. The reason Pa and Kazkthul are listed as unknown is because both of those are revamped zones on every other server except for Erdune and Rizlona. So in order to do those, we'll have to test them here live. Yeah, Soleil is big, man. Catch keep with that 80% though. But yeah, we went Soleil, and our group was the first group to 50, so I definitely think Soleil is the optimum route for EXP gains. If I had to guess, I would say CT. Let me look at the list. There's kind of a pattern for the most part with these. I would guess CT is 33% maybe. If it's really good, it'll be like 53%. I don't think it'll be better than Soleil. But I'd love to be wrong. Camweb, it depends on your class composition. If you have an enchanter in your group and you have the charm spell Allure, then the best place to level... Actually, never mind. It's the hole. It's 100% the hole. I forgot that the hole is open now. But on server launch, when the hole is closed, 45 to 50 you should do at Elite Goblins and Ocean of Tears if you have a lore. If you don't have a lore, then you should be using Ifriti and Solasec B, Nagafin's Lair. So Kedge has the best Zem, however the mob density is bad, and because you're going to swim slower than you run for most characters, it means that even if mob density was good, your throughput on mob kills is going to be slower because your pull time's increased. So for that reason, Kedge Keep is suboptimal. One of the really big factors, maybe the single biggest factor, is having a high average mob level to kill. You take a huge negative EXP modifier when you're killing blues versus whites, yellows, reds. And that's why the hole is so good. I don't even need to know what the Zem in the hole is. It allows you to fight yellows and reds, which means it's going to be the best place to level up from 45 to 50. Guaranteed. And I would probably do like docks down in the hole. Ooh, there's a lot of differences between Air and P99. P99 is no doubt closer to classic, but a lot of things that seem classic on P99 are incorrect or like best guesses. So there's that, but like right off the bat, if you intend to raid at all, it's going to be a very different experience. Air has what they call agents of change, which allow you to hail them, and they can port a raid of characters into an instanced version of a raid zone. So like if you wanted to do Nagafen, you could get an instanced version of Solasec B, Nagafen's Lair. Sorry guys, I can't group. And that would let you fight Nagafen once a week with your raid, and no one could mess with it. You just get a chance to do it all on your own. So that's a huge, huge change. The raid mobs are way harder on Aerodune than they are on P99. So like you might have a shot to fight them, but they're not going to be as easy. On P99, Nagafen has 32,000 HP, as do all other classic raid mobs. On Aerodune, classic raid mobs have quadruple that health, I think, 120,000 health. They have an ability called Mitigation of the Mighty, which mitigates a raw 40% of all incoming damage from spell, melee, and any other source. So like let's say you would hit Nagafen for 10. Like after it factors in his AC and everything, you would hit him for 10. Now you hit him for 6. It's a big problem. They have a thing called Presence of the Mighty. Is this guy gonna try to cast me, or does he just think he's being friendly? They have an ability called Presence of the Mighty, which reduces all your resists by like 40 whenever you're in range of them. So that's pretty crazy. And they have Mark of the Old Ways, which means they ignore pets. Like if you send a bunch of pets on Nagafen on P99, he'll turn around and kill the pets. But on Aerodune, if a pet attacks a dragon or any raid mob, they will ignore the pet and go directly to the caster. Every zone in Aerodune has a pick zone potential. So that means like, see, I just typed pick zone and it pops this up. I can go to Blackborough 55 instead, which has 6 players in. Leveling speed is, I would say, probably a lot faster on Aerodune than it is on P99. No, because harm touches are also much weaker on P99. On that first TLP, the harm touches did, what, like 2k damage, I want to say? So, if you had 16 Shadow Knights between 2 raids or even within 1 raid, you just won. You deleted the mob. On P99, level 50 harm touch does 501 damage if it's not resisted. Hey, Bakesy, yeah, I have a tip. One sec. Bakesy, you should do that quest. Get that snare necklace. So yeah, the leveling speed is going to be way faster. For perspective, I was the first 50 on Aerodune, and I did it in 39 hours. P99 would be way slower than that. The reason that it's like that isn't just because the EXP rates are jacked up, though. There's a lot of mechanics behind the scenes that go into making it faster. Mage. There's the final moments of the server first 50 on Aerodune. So let's talk about some of the mechanics that make the EXP rates different on P99 versus on TLP servers. P99 has the old style group EXP bonus, which, like every person you add to the group, you divide the EXP another way. When you add the 6th person on P99, they're free. So there's never a reason to have a 5-man group, because you could just add the 6th person at no detriment, but more DPS. On Everquest Live and TLP server, every time you add someone to a group, it increases the EXP bonus rate. all the way up to 6, where you have like some number, like I want to say like close to 3% bonus EXP. The way this works out, though, across the full leveling spread is very significant. EXP is also calculated differently on a mob to player level ratio basis. So like right now I'm killing a blue con, right? If I'm a level 2 character and I kill a level 2 mob, it's gonna give me, I wanna say like 5% EXP solo, maybe 7.5%, which is the EXP cap per kill. But if I kill a level 1 mob, I'll only get 20% of that amount. So it's a huge, huge reduction for killing blues. But when I leveled up on P99, basically all you did was kill blues. Even in groups, you farm blues all day. On TLP, you're farming reds and yellows all day. It's partially possible because player power has increased over the years with like increased AC soft caps and skill caps being higher. So that's part of what makes it realistic to do the faster leveling. It's a lot less to do with the actual EXP rates being different versus player capabilities, group bonuses, the number of mobs you're clearing, totally different Zems. The Zems on P99 and TLP have virtually no correlation at all. They're totally different. And TLP servers also even have what they call a mob experience modifier. So like, I'm killing a scrawny gnoll right now. Maybe all scrawny gnolls in Black Bro are default 0%, but maybe that gnoll scout right there, maybe gnoll scouts have a negative 5% mob experience modifier. So when I kill them, I get 5% less EXP than I would killing a normal mob. And there's also mobs that give plus mob experience modifiers. So if you know all those little tips and tricks, you can level much faster than the average person. I think P99 recently revised their max AoE targets. I think currently on TLP servers there is no cap, or it's insanely high, because I've seen AoE groups in Kunark and later especially in Luckland that do huge amounts of mobs. In Luckland there's a zone called the Deep where you do like hundreds of mobs per pool. You can do that quest at like level 1 through 5 even, Bixie. The only thing is you have to be worshipping Inaruk as your deity, so make sure you either already are worshipping Inaruk or you are willing to re-roll for those first 4 levels to be able to get that quest. Hey, so another huge thing is like on P99, if you go into Upper Guck and there's 90 people there, it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll camp 2 mobs, right? You're very limited. But on this server they have pick zones, which means you type /pick zone, and if there's enough people in any given zone, it will spawn a copy of that zone. Every zone has a different ceiling, but I think like for instance, I think Black Bro is 25 people. Whenever there's 25 people in Black Bro, a second version of Black Bro spins up, and anyone can /pick zone and jump over to the second version. That way population spreads out and camps aren't too dense. I'm not a big fan of pick zones because it turns Everquest into like Upper Guck quest, right? Literally 500 people will go to Upper Guck, and there will be 10 instances of Upper Guck with 50 people in it apiece. It still feels like real EverQuest when you're in there, right? Because the zones are still pretty populated, but every other zone on the server is underpopulated, which feels terrible. Be that as it may, though, it just means that you can always be in the best EXP zones, in the best EXP camps for the most part. There's never a time when you have to really settle. P99 has only ever done one fresh server for like normal content. They did a red server a couple years back, but I think they plan to do it every time they finish the P99 cycle, as you might call it, which is like going from classic all the way up to the final patch in Velius. And I want to say off the top of my head that takes like 3 or 4 years. So you could probably expect a new P99 server every 4 to 5 years. And I would 100% say that you should play it. Hey, thanks for the follow, Spaceway. And thanks for the follow, Giblets. I missed that while I was pontificating about EXP rates. Yeah, there's no hell levels on here, which is great. There's still the same EXP amount, so it's It's not like they just made them easier, they just spread it out, right? So it used to be like, hey, level 30, 35, 40, and 45 just take an extra amount of EXP for no reason. Now the surrounding levels take longer than they used to, but there's no hell level. Wizards are okay, Giblets. They're not incredible. Are you looking to be like that big DPS class? Is that why you want to go Zerker and you're looking at potentially Wizard? Hey, thanks for the follow, Camweb. If you're looking to do big DPS, I'd say a monk is fine, but there's going to be 10,000 monks, so just be ready for that. Everybody rolls monk. And of course, like in Classic on TLPs, every healing class gets superior healing. So Druid, Shaman, Cleric, all fine. Even as a Paladin at 48, I think I get superior healing. It's crazy. If you plan to re-roll into a Zerker, I would almost say just go Rogue. So you're like a little bit more unique. And the other thing is there's like 2 rogues in each guild, which means you're going to max out all your gear way faster than a monk will. There's going to be like no competition for your gear. So I would go Rogue, just deal with people making jokes about you, and then laugh when you spend 1 DKP for best in slot gear, while monks spend like 600 DKP for marginal upgrades. And I say this as a monk main. I've made monk on every server. Just think, boys, 2 more levels, we'll have Passy, and we won't have to deal with stuff like this. In the meantime, though. Oh, this is not good. Then every time you happen to beat monks on a parse as a rogue, you can just save that parse forever on your computer and link it every time they talk shit. Five minutes on lay on hands, boys. Cha, like charisma? I don't know that charisma's like valuable at all on TLP servers. Dude, I'm trying to be nice about the train because I feel like I train out of the zone every 10 seconds. You know what? We always go to Kanos Hills. Let's train into Everfrost. Feels bad, man. Oof. We have a victim. My train killed somebody. We'll wait here and see if maybe some of it dies. We can kill someone when it gets here. Yeah, I don't think charisma is very valuable at all. But I'll still be able to lull these targets so that their aggro radius is reduced significantly. Especially since I'm mostly going to be working with blues. Hey, so I chose Paladin because I wanted to do a class that was like not easy. So this run is solo self-found. I don't trade with anyone. I only get items that I loot from mobs I kill, that I craft, that I quest, or that I buy from vendor default stock. And if I die, it's permadeath. I delete the character, or at least I'll retire it. Maybe I'll let it sit at character select as like a Hall of Fame. But yeah, so it's a permadeath character as well. So I wanted something that was really hard. Like it doesn't make sense to do all those stipulations if you're just going to play like Mage or Necromancer, a class that you know can solo all the way to 50 with no problem. So I chose Paladin. I was thinking about Warrior, but the Bind Wound macro exploit that you can use on P99 doesn't work here. So that makes it a lot harder. And also Warrior is a little bit less fun to watch, I think, because like a Warrior is basically like, hey, can I auto attack this mob and kill it? If the answer is no, then I lose. Whereas Paladin has like tips and tricks and little techs that you can use to try to beat mobs that maybe you ordinarily would lose to. Like one of the things I've already done, even just at level 9, is like I'll be fighting something outside, I'll blind it, I'll back up so it's at a melee range, and it'll be feared effectively, running in a random direction. While it's feared, I'll just heal myself up, and then it comes back, and we re-engage and kill it. So I've used that to solo yellows already. So I figured with that sort of thing, I'd have like a little bit more nuance, a little bit more innovation potential with the class. It'd be a little bit more fun to watch. I went with Paladin over Shadow Knight because Shadow Knight is like super popular. Everyone plays Shadow Knights. Great, powerful class. And it's got Feign Death, which kind of trivializes the no death aspect of this. I wanted something that would be hard, and I wanted to feature a class that you don't typically see. No, Rangers they're not bad. They're just not super great. People get really caught up with like thinking everything that is not a monk for melee is bad, or not a Shadow Knight for tanks is bad, and Rangers kind of get stuck in that in-between state, and people think they're bad. But I'd say Rangers are really good. They're really fun, and I think probably a Ranger would be an awesome SSF Permadeath character, like you guys said. If this Paladin dies, I'll let everyone like vote. But I would say we're probably going to do a Ranger if I have any say in it. That's a big question, Village. So, on P99, on P99 green specifically, the first level 50 was a cleric. On teal, the first level 50 was an enchanter. But yeah, so I talked to that cleric, and she's a buddy of mine. She said she soloed pretty much all the way to 50 as a paladin, or I mean as a cleric. Right, exactly what Gibbet said. Like, they're not the best, and they're probably at their weakest point in Classic, but they only get better and better. Yeah, Grizzly, it's Cow, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, we will not have any Rubicite breastplates or mana stones in this run. I mean, technically, I could farm a Ruby BP, but like by the time I'm a high enough level to kill Avatar of Fear, the run is already, it's done. You know what I mean? Like when you're in the mid 40s, you know you're gonna make it. Level 48, boys, I get DA, then I'll be unkillable. Yeah, so I'd probably say that Cleric is easier than Paladin. Once I get to 50, you know what we'll do? We'll probably go to Plane of Fear, and I'll bum rush CT like any good Paladin should. And we'll just see, maybe I'll solo him, maybe he'll death touch me in 1 second, and the run will be over. Space, I haven't seen anybody solo to 50 on TLP servers, so I don't know how long it's going to take. I would say the average run to 50 on in a group is going to take like 60 hours played. It's probably like a good round number. It took me 39 hours played, which was also 39 hours in real life when we did the launch rush. But that was a hyper optimized group. Granted, we had some moments where people crashed and that slowed us down, and we had like the part where you're half retarded because you haven't slept in 2 days. But otherwise, I think 39 hours is kind of like peak EXP rates for this server. Hey Bexy, DA Divine Aura. It's a spell I can cast that allows me to take no damage for like X number of seconds. So I can just walk around. Mobs can try to hit me, it doesn't matter. Paladins get it at level 48. Clerics get it at level 1. I think as long as I do not move this mob at all, he will not aggro the other mobs behind him. So there's some like big benchmarks I want to hit on the way to 50. Like I want to solo a Ghoulbane. I think I could do it. I want to solo a Pegasus Cloak from Quillmane. I think I can do that. And probably the hardest one is I want to solo J-Boots. So I gotta get an Ancient Cyclops, which I think will be very challenging for me. Hey, thanks for the follow, Bakesy. This guy ran really early. I gotta look at Deepwater Harpoon. Can you link? Actually, it won't let you link. I'll look it up really quick. Yeah, there is a lot of really cool hidden itemization. The best thing you could do is like take your class, whatever class you want to play, and put like P99 cleric newbie quests, and then like just go through them. That's kind of what I did to learn a lot of the stuff over the years. Yeah, it looks like I could do it. I'll probably give that a shot, dude. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, man, P99 is super easy to get Quillmane. You just sit in that one spot, kill the PHs, and have a buddy, like, what we did was I had my Necromancer bound at one of his spawn locations. I killed all his PHs in another location. And my friend was sitting at one spot and bound at the third spot, and we never missed a kill. Yeah, man, feel free to drop some knowledge in the chat. Even if I don't use it, someone here will benefit. Hey, thanks for this follow, Sunny Gummy. There's a lot of spawn cycles that are a lot easier on P99 than they are on TLP for some reason, like Pisgen. I actually farmed enough glowing black stones to buy a Rubicite breastplate on P99 green. Oh yeah, Fairy Wand, 10 out of 10, must buy on every server. Yeah, that sounds correct to me, Drask. The last time I did Quillmane on a TLP server was Lockjaw in 2014. That was before the first fairy wand hit the store, so it was valuable back then for non-mages. Alright, next kill should be level 10. Yeah, the biggest issue I'll have with most of those mobs is just competing with other people, trying to get it. Quillmane, you'll have to compete with bards a lot. Trying to get Ancient Cyclops, I'm going to have to definitely do that in South Row instead of Ocean of Tears. I plan to work on factions so I can get an IV hoop and, oh nice, ding. Hey, thanks for the follow. I plan to work on factions so I can get an IV hoop and Walking Sleep Hammer, which I think will be pretty critical for soloing some of those named mobs. We got dodge, boys. Now we're a real tank. Yeah, I went Paladin because I wanted it to be very challenging. I didn't want to do Warrior because, like, Warrior is a little bit too plain, you know what I mean? If a Warrior can't kill something via auto attack, it just loses. So I wanted something where there was, like, some tricks I could pull out of my sleeve to do some impressive content. And I didn't want to go with Shadow Knight because of Feign Death and Shadow Knight's being so popular. I wanted to represent an underplayed class. Hey, then if you're okay with high skill cap, you should definitely roll an enchanter. Be ready though, there's going to be like 10 million enchanters right now. However, every group wants you in their group. The skill ceiling is high. You have some of the best solo potential in the game for the next few expansions. And you're the best duo class partnered with a cleric. Hands down, no questions asked. Enchanter is a wonderful class. You should definitely try it. But it is a very unique playstyle. So if you don't like it at first, do try another class. Yeah, either with a partner or 2-box, yeah. Now keep in mind, enchanters don't, quote, come online until level 11, so you're going to feel really underpowered until level 11, especially if you're solo. That'll only be a couple hours, most likely. Well, I should say that, but like I have 24 hours played on this level 10 Paladin, so... But yeah, level 11 you get Charm, and that's when like the world opens up for enchanters. Maybe another cracked staff here. So I would say the next best class that's most like Enchanter would be Necromancer. They're still popular, but they're a lot less popular than nice cracked staff than the Enchanter is. Basically, most of the time, a necromancer is kind of like a mage, though a little bit weaker in raw power than the mage. However, they can kite, they can dot. Yo, what's up, Bobby? And then when you're dealing with undead, the necromancer basically turns into an enchanter. They can do everything an enchanter can when you're fighting undead mobs. They can charm undead, they can mez undead, etc. Alright, we got 3 mobs here, but they're all blue. We might be able to take them. Alright, yeah, I can't trade though, dude. I'm not allowed to trade on this character, so I can't give you the loot rights. I'll leave it rotting and you can just pick it up. I wonder if there's like some weird Z-axis nonsense I can do to pull these without getting all 3. Probably not. Loot rights are pretty simple. Like if you kill a mob, you own the loot for that mob for 30 minutes. If you want to invite someone to your group or otherwise give it away, you can do that through in-game UI commands. If you just leave it on the corpse, eventually... Actually, you own it for 15 minutes, about half the time that it would stay on the corpse. The corpse despawns at 30 minutes and everything on it is lost. But that last like 15 minutes, I want to say, anyone can walk up and just loot anything that's left on the body. Here we go, boys. I'll take it. I don't know why it happened, but we'll accept this turn of events. Man, look at these dodge skill ups. Dodge monster. Can't be hit. So this is a weird room. It looks like there was supposed to be some kind of like monster or bear NPC up here that they just never finished. It's got unique textures. I don't understand where this Null Guardsman came from. I think maybe he aggroed me through the ceiling. Maybe that's why they never finished this room. Z-axis aggro issues. Yeah, dude, you should absolutely try it. It's a lot of fun. It's a fresh twist, a new challenge on some content that we're all pretty familiar with. Alright guys, we hit level 10. I'll probably be back on later, but for now, I'm going to take a break. Appreciate everyone watching. Please go ahead and follow if you are enjoying this content. There's the Zem list again, if you need that before I bounce. Please enjoy. And here's to finally getting the Shield of Knife after 3 days of questing for it.